Welcome to Graphic Policy Television GPTV. I'm Brett. We're kicking through some videos today, so don't mind the same shirt. One game you might notice that we cover a lot on here is the D&D Attack Wing from Wizkid. It's a miniature game that I enjoy playing myself. You'll usually find me at local stores during OP events playing along, and I try to get some games in between. The latest OP event is out, and it involves a pretty cool figure, one that I was excited to check out, the Nightmare. So we're going to open up this figure, show off the cards and the figure that you get, and see what we think of it. So those who don't know, D&D Attack Wing is a game by Wizkids. You basically take an army of miniatures, you build them out, and you battle it with your opponents. The game uses pre-painted figures, all the figures are worth points, stuff like that. Usually you play some scenarios, sometimes you can do some other stuff, but I enjoy the game. I think it's a lot of fun. So let's first go over the cards. You get a hell of a lot here, as usual. Some stuff that, you know, you'll be getting tons and tons of. So clearly there's something having to do with Ethereal Stride, Sulfur Smoke, and of course the base of the figure itself. And then we also have one of the dials, some timers, more sulfur smoke, and then finally the other dial and some other tokens that you'll find useful in the game. So up next, let's actually discuss the figure itself. This is one, when I saw it hit the web as to it coming out, I thought it was awesome. There we go. Really, really cool figure. The Nightmare is kind of like a horse on fire. I loved the Nightmare from Wizards of the Coast Magic: The Gathering in the old revised edition. This figure reminds me a lot of that, which is part of the reason I really, really dug it. It uses some great use of the translucent plastic. I don't know if you can see it really well, but there's some great coloring on it in the body itself. Yeah, I don't think you're going to be able to see it too well. Where it kind of plays off the fire, some slight veins. Overall, like, I think this, maybe out of all the OP figures, this one's my favorite one. For those who don't know what the OP is, it is an event where you basically play against other folks. Usually the top 2 winners get this card, or get the figure. Anyone that participates gets a card for participation. Let's go through the cards. So you get a bunch of cards just for participating. And we're going to go over all the cards itself. Let's make sure I've got everything. I did. Okay. First, let's go through these. So we've got Ethereal Stride. It is a 5-point upgrade special card. It must be a nightmare to equip, so not really super useful right now. You cannot attack. You are unaffected by actions or attacks made by other creatures. You are unaffected by obstacles of any kind and can pass through enemy creatures without performing an overrun check. After you move, you may remove the Ethereal Stride effect token from your beside your creature, thereby ending this effect. When this effect ends for any reason, discard this card. So a great way to outmaneuver your opponents. So that could be kind of cool. I think this one's the Sulfur Smoke. Alright, so this one's got a range of 2. The affected creatures lose all tokens and roll -1 attack die in combat. So a way to screw with your opponent so that they can't really do anything back. That cost 4 points. Must be a nightmare to equip. Actually, all these are, or almost all of these are nightmares to equip. So let's go with another nightmare to equip. This one's Flaming Hooves, and that costs 5. Flaming Hooves. During a primary weapon hoof attack against a non-flaming flame creature, fire creature, whatever you want to call them, if any of your damage is about to be deflected by your target's armor during the deflect hits step of combat, you may disable this upgrade to penetrate the opponent's armor. So a cool way to get through armor, which I know has been a pain in the ass for many, many people. Next one, we've got Death Knight, the Undead Rider. This one's a cost of 5. We're seeing this more and more, which is pretty cool, being able to equip creatures with riders. This one has a 1-range melee. Each time you defend against a primary weapon melee attack, you may roll +1 defense die. You may also make the following attack once during each combat phase. Make a 4-attack dice attack against one creature at range 1 in your forward arc. This is considered a primary weapon attack. This is a free attack that does not count as your 1 attack for this round. Must be a nightmare to equip. You cannot equip other riders that cost 5. So it's pretty cool. So we've got the Ethereal, which allows you to get through the other players, quickly outmaneuver them, and then we've got the Rider. They can get in quickly and attack them. This one, you just have to be evil to equip, and it's +2 for non-nightmares. This cost is 3. It's Tortured Nature. Whenever you receive critical damage, you may place 2 timers on this upgrade to discard the first face-up damage card that is drawn and replace it with a new face-up damage card. So a way to help lessen the damage that's happening to you. Kind of a cool mix of upgrades. Through them, I'm kind of seeing the idea of that you want to outmaneuver your opponents, get in for the attacks. We're going to talk about the actual damage for the attacks, or what you get for abilities for the creature after. So it kind of seems like that's the theme they're going for. Let's actually discuss the creature itself. Pretty maneuverable in flight. There's not much. There's some issues kind of going backwards, which actually would be really cool to do the Ethereal Stride, move through your opponents and then spin around at the end to be able to attack. That's the flight. And then on the ground, a little bit slower as far as moving 4, you get the red instead of white on flight. So overall, like a pretty maneuverable figure, about what you expect. It's a horse, like I would think. So we have a Demon Horse Nightmare. Cost is 34. Attack is 3, 3, 4, and 2 with 2 slots to fill, and a hoof melee distance of 2. So pretty expensive to field. We're talking dragon level of points here. So level 8 though, so you can put a lot on there. And then we also have the upgraded version. The named is Hordinox, level 15. Also has the 2 range. Comparatively, the attack is 5, the other one's 3. The 2 is the defense, while the other one has a 3 defense. Does have 5 life compared to 4, and then both have 2 shields. The little ability that Hordinox have is whenever a creature attacks Hordinox from a range 2 or beyond, Hordinox may force that creature to reroll 1 attack die of Hordinox's choice. Creature does come in at some pretty hefty price of 50. So that's a pretty big deal. That's really, really high point-wise. And most of these games, a lot of them are playing 120 points. I know some people are moving to 150 points, but for these OP events, you're generally doing 120. And even then, you are walking in with 90. So that's a lot of your use. I mean, if you were to use him and upgrade him with 3 out of the 4, I'd definitely do Ethereal Stride. I would probably do Death Knight, so that's 10 points. Maybe Flaming Hooves. So let's go, that's 10, another 20 points. You're looking at 70 points out of your 90 just for this, if you were to upgrade them. For those who are participating, though, you also get some other cool items. We've got Saddle of the Cavalier, a cost of 5 points. You add 1 additional upgrade to your creature's upgrade banner. If your Dragon Rider upgrade is about to be discarded by an opponent, you may discard this upgrade instead. Even this upgrade is disabled or has timers on it. And if you have a Dragon Rider upgrade, you may place 2 timers on this upgrade to add +1 attack die to your primary weapon attack. If you have a Dragon Rider upgrade, you may place 2 timers on this upgrade to add +1 attack die to that Dragon Rider's upgrade attack, if any. So that's 5. So lots of use on that one. That one will come in pretty handy. Similarly, we also have the Saddle of the Cavalier. Very similar, just different upgrade. This one is if you have a mount upgrade instead of the Dragon Rider. Very, very similar concept. That also is 5 points. And then we have Saddle of the Cavalier, which is also very similar. This one, though, is a Rider upgrade instead. Also for 5 points. 3 cool upgrades. I kind of like them. I think they're really, really interesting. Definitely changed things up a little bit in the game, which is kind of cool. Overall, though, I'm really digging the Nightmare. A little bit pricey, so I'd probably save this for some bigger games, but I might be screwing around maybe in an OP event and maxing out the Nightmare to see what happens. Definitely, I don't think people will expect it, and the figure's pretty maneuverable, so we might have some fun on top of it. But overall, very interesting upgrade for a new figure for Dungeons & Dragons Attack Wing. Thanks for watching. You can catch us every single day at graphicpolicy.com. Of course, you can find us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, all at Graphic Policy. Keep it nice and consistent. Until next time, keep rolling those die and keep it geeky.